guy in many people's minds.
Referee Don Koharski drops the puck, and the Islanders in white controlling. On defense, Ken Leiter. He's on defense with Steve Conroy. Conroy has the puck. Leiter now controls. Lindstrom falls down. And Conroy losing the puck, played by Chabot. At center ice, Trottier with who else? Mike Bossy. Trottier moving in front. Bossy can't get a shot. Well covered by Bob Erie. Leiter in front. The save by Milan. Trottier trying to center the three Islanders behind the net. Now Mike Bossy in control. He hits the skate of his teammate Steve Conroy, and the puck cleared around the boards by Jim Johnson, and down the ice there'll be no icing, and the Penguins get a chance to change players. Conroy, the ex-Flame, just drives the puck through center ice, and it'll be touched by the newcomer Chris Dahlquist, and it's an icing call against the New York Islanders. Now back to George.
The NHL on ESPN is being brought to you tonight by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Purolator's new Turbo, the first oil filter designed to tame a turbo's heat. Let's go back to Uniondale.
Puck controlled by the New York Islanders. Here's a chance for Simpson. Lemieux, and the shot goes wide. Dahlquist is hit, keeps the puck in. Big number 66 unable to play it. This is Crom hit. Hot man trying to clear and hits Lemieux of Pittsburgh. And finally the Islanders clear the puck, but it goes the length of the ice. Flatley sending it the length of the ice. And an icing again called as Bodger of Pittsburgh touches the puck.
There's big number 66, the heir apparent to the throne. That is Wayne Gretzky decides that he wants to let someone else have it. Ken, you mentioned that this is the first meeting between these two teams, the first chance they've had to look at one another this season. Terry Simpson, the young rookie coach of the New York Islanders, has never seen these Pittsburgh Penguins, period. He's been so busy over the last 14 years coaching in northern Saskatchewan that his tenure in the National Hockey League thus far this year has involved just getting to know what's going on around the league. So this is the first time he's seen the Penguins in general.
Good save by Rudy on the shot by Billy Siren, and the puck goes into the crowd. Siren from Finland in his second NHL season. Bob Berry, the coach here with Jim Roberts as assistant behind the Pittsburgh bench.
And two defensive-minded players when they played the game, and that's what they're trying to instill in this Penguins organization, and they've done just an outstanding job. You know, along with Toronto, after 20 games this season, Pittsburgh is the most improved team over last year. They have 11 points more at this stage after 20 games, along with Toronto, than they had last year. That's a lot of points in 20 games.
Two veterans, Trottier of New York, Ruskowski of Pittsburgh for this faceoff. Ruskowski wins the draw. Puck shot out by Conroy. Played by Dwayne Sutter. Ahead for Mike Bossy, who had to stop at the Pittsburgh blue line. Here's Norm Schmidt, hit by Trottier. Good forechecking by the Islanders. Now Sutter. Back to Trottier in front. Bossy trying to get a shot on goal, unable to. Mario Lemieux with the puck. He loses it to Trottier again. Ryan Trottier attempting to center, can't. Bossy behind the net. Along the near boards, Dwayne Sutter can't play it. Conroy centers. Here's Dwayne Sutter, and the shot, and the save by Milage. Captain Terry Ruskowski with the outlet pass to Craig Simpson. He stopped Conroy, shooting the puck right back in, and the Islanders have the early pressure. 2 minutes, 10 seconds into the first period, and there's no score. Back the other way, Mario Lemieux. He'll shoot, and the save by Rudy. Going one way, shooting the other was Mario Lemieux.
Well, he didn't have much choice there, Ken. Brian Trottier was coming cross ice, and had he remained standing up, I think Brian would have introduced him to the Nassau County Coliseum. Mario took a shot on net, bailed out, went right down onto his back.
Jim Johnson losing the puck. Trottier has it for New York. Quickly stolen away by John Chabot. Momantha loses the puck. Craig Gilbert shoots and shoots it wide, partially off Johnson's stick. 24 for the Islanders, Mikko Mekala. But the Pittsburgh player, Bob Erie, has the puck covered. At Long Island, it's the Islanders nothing, the Penguins no score. Inside the Pittsburgh blue line, the Islanders have played very well early, and Lemieux has been prevalent for Pittsburgh.
This is a big challenge for Mario Lemieux. Watch Trottier come from the left of your screen. Now watch Mario go down. He picked him up. It will be a challenge for Lemieux should Coach Terry Simpson of the Islanders continue to match Bryan Trottier's line against Lemieux. It's no big challenge for Bryan. He's played against all the tops in the game.
Mikko Makela in front, and the shot by LaFontaine wide. Makela moves right in his backhand drive, and Melange somehow robs the 21-year-old Finn, Mikko Makela. Well, they say he can really stick handle, and he was dazzling there.
Well, similar to most European players, Ken, he's a skill player. You don't look for him in the trenches, but you will look for him to do the scoring things. He hasn't this season. He broke out of his slump, the Islanders' hope, with a winning goal last week against Toronto. He came around, Melange stood his ground. The puck was up on end against his stick. That's one of the reasons I don't think Makela had full control of it, but Melange simply stood his ground.
Makela's on the right wing. LaFontaine is at center. And Greg Gilbert, who was out earlier in the season with a cracked jaw, is on the left wing for the Islanders. Pittsburgh controlling. Crawley hit by Johnson. Here's LaFontaine, the Detroit native. He shot, and Melange the save. There'll be a penalty coming up here. Referee Don Koharski will call a cross-checking penalty. The linesmen tonight, by the way, are Ray Scapanello and Mark Vines. We are going to get a look at our first power play as Randy Cunneyworth of the Penguins picks up the penalty.
LaFontaine here trying to cut in. Melange really extended that right leg well, and I'm not sure that I saw the penalty. Cunneyworth, I believe, was out of the play, cross-checking one of the Islanders. Did you see Cunneyworth involved in that play with LaFontaine, Ken? Or
he was out in front with a cross-check in front of Gilles Melange. The 2-minute penalty coming at 3:11.
You don't think it's interesting the way this game of hockey can change? The Islanders have obviously taken it thus far to the Penguins. The Penguins are coming off of 2 real big wins on the road, something that they've had trouble doing. The Islanders played their worst game of the season last Saturday night, yet tonight they've just reversed it. It's the Islanders taking it to the Penguins.
Power play, New York. LaFontaine with Chartier and Bossy. Some firepower up front. Van at the point. Leiter's at the other point. Digging the puck out is Chartier. Covered by Mo Mantha. The veteran Bryan Chartier stopped Chabot there also. Now Mantha pins LaFontaine. Mantha goes down, covers the puck, and referee Don Koharski stopped play with 1:34 left in the New York Islanders power play.
Well, it didn't seem to matter to Bryan Trottier that Mo Mantha had smothered the puck. He just tried to spear the puck out from under him, wasn't successful. And there's Terry Simpson, the man we were speaking about earlier. Came to the New York Islanders from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. If that isn't culture shock in itself, let alone trying to learn what's going on around the National Hockey League, he had to assess his own team, and he did that by staying in the stands for the first 10 days of training camp and actually not taking the ice. He had 65 players at camp, most of whom he'd never seen play before.
Islanders man advantage, keeping the puck in is Leiter. Potvin plays it ahead, it deflects to LaFontaine. Trottier stopped, and it may have gotten by Melange and hit the post. I'm not sure. The captain of the Islanders, Potvin, into Mike Bossy. Here's LaFontaine. Trottier's in front. Here's Leiter, his shot. It may have gone off. Trottier, and Melange makes the save. And oh, Bryan Trottier, Bill Clement doing some exciting work in front, trying to get position and also screening.
Really one of the best players, I would say, still at the age of 30 in all areas of the ice. If you took both corners in his end in the offensive zone, he actually gets his leg up to try and deflect that, and he deflected it off the inside of his right leg onto Gilles Melange. The shot prior to that was in question, you mentioned hitting the post. To me, it looked as if it went off directly off that inside short post and went out behind Gilles Melange between the net and his back.
Bryan Trottier, the 30-year-old in his 12th NHL season. He and Mike Bossy, one of the most prolific scorers, needless to say, the game has ever seen, have been together for 10 years.
Yep.
They're on the power play with LaFontaine. Potvin moves in against Duguay. Still a minute to go in the man advantage for the Islanders. There's no score. Tomas Johnson gets around Siren, centering, and the puck deflects away from Trottier. It's been a terrific power play. Potvin right on. Melange the save. Here's a chance. Bossy the backhand drive. Gilles Melange has been called upon to be tough during this man shortage for the Penguins, and the Islanders have done everything but score.
He's been called upon. He's been just great. It's nice to see. I also agree with Bob Berry in that Gilles Melange has always exemplified professionalism throughout his career, even during the days when he had some long games with the California Golden Seals and many shots, and he's just had a wonderful game so far. The first 5 minutes have been a real test for him.
Makela gets the puck to Leiter. Over to Flatley. Back to Macklin. Looking to move it to Leiter. Screen shot, rebound, Flatley, and Chabot will clear. Just as Randy Cunneyworth will come back on the ice for Pittsburgh.
I would say Meloche has earned his paycheck for the night.
The Islanders have 8 shots on goal already. Pittsburgh has 2. There's a 9th shot by Janssen, and the puck cleared by the Penguins. This could be an icing. Ken Leiter, the Michigan State product, the Detroit native, will touch it, and they wave off the icing. Now it's Mantha at center ice for Pittsburgh, shooting the puck out of play. There's 14:27 to go in the first period, and there's no score. A lot of early New York Islanders firepower tonight.
Right at Gilles Meloche. And you know, Ken, before a game a couple of weeks ago that we did in Pittsburgh, I talked to Gilles, and he wasn't playing that much. Roberto Romano had been basically named the Pittsburgh's #1 goaltender, and he said, you know, 10 or 12 years ago I would have complained and not stood for this, but at the age of 36, every year is a bonus year now in a professional athletic career. So he was very, very happy still to be one of 2 main guys in the pipes for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Here's Ruskowski to Lemieux. Simpson is the other forward. He skates up ice with Lemieux, 2-on-2. Dineen breaks up the play. Conroy clears to Flatley. Over to Richard Crom, whose dad, Bobby Crom, once coached the Detroit Red Wings. Flatley over the line, stopped. Shooting the puck around the board. Brent Sutter. Here's Crom, and Meloche scurries back. Brent Sutter's had such a tremendous year for the Islanders. Here's Crom, who hasn't scored much. Siren takes out Sutter. Crom centers, and Flatley can't get a stick on the puck as Lemieux lumbers down the ice. He's one of those fellas that looks like he isn't moving too quickly, and he's not exactly like a freight train. He's more like the Express.
Boy, I'll tell you, he's 6'5", and he is criticized by some people for being lazy. Well, I'll tell you, Mario knows it himself, and he knows how hard he works. Guys that are 6'5" in hockey look as if they're not doing very much out there. That is not the case most of the time. They're working as hard as the little guys, but I'll tell you, on the surface, it doesn't look anything like it. You're right.
Islanders are offside. Dennis Potvin has had a real good start. The 3-time Norris Trophy winner here in his 14th NHL season. And the action continues. Budweiser keeps the action going so you can enjoy this game. Well, the clean, crisp taste of Bud. This Bud's for all you do. Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, New York. They've got a few Stanley Cup flags hanging here.
You could see the white and blue flags in the background on that shot of their divisional championships and conference championships.
They have had a terrific history here on Long Island. Here's Dale Henry centering. It comes back to Janssen, unable to deflect his Lauer. Dale Henry trying to center, unable to. Dan Quinn, the ex-Flame, playing the puck up on the wing. Here's Dan Frawley, the former Blackhawk. Young Doug Bodger up from the defense. Quick shot. That's knocked down by Ken Morrow and grabbed by Kelly Rudy. On Long Island, there's no score.
Coach Bob Berry of the Penguins mentioned in our open that he wants other teams to adopt the Penguin style and force them to play his style. Well, one thing that he didn't elaborate on is that he's got number 66, and that's an easy thing to say. Most coaches don't have the luxury of being able to force teams to play the way they play because they don't have someone as dominant as Mario. But given Mario Lemieux on the ice, that's when you can start forcing teams to play a little more your style, and then you can freelance as a coach a little easier.
Dale Henry trying to cut in. Here's Basson, the shot, no goal. The net had come loose as Cunneyworth. And Basson of the Islanders went barreling into the goal behind Joe Meloche, and now Lauer takes a bit of a poke there. And now Basson's going to go, and Don Koharski could well have his hands full.
Well, it was Dahlquist that came in and gave Basson a shot on the side of the head when they were moving to see what was happening. On that shot, that would have been a goal had the net been off the had it not been off the pipes. That went right between Joe Meloche's legs. Nice feed by Thomas Janssen. And you can see the feed. There's the net gone off, but the shot right between Meloche's legs. To me, we could have a 1-0 score. Here's another closer look at it. Cutting in, cutting in. 2 Penguins there.
Joe was pretty happy to see there was no net, believe me.
Can you imagine him turning around saying, what, the net is gone? Perfect.
Dan Frawley is going to go off, the Pittsburgh Penguins winger. So the 2-minute penalty to Frawley, a high sticking penalty called by referee Don Koharski. here at 7:35 in the first period.
I think Bob Berry is, boy, he's not happy.
That's the second penalty in the first period. Both have been against Pittsburgh, and after the power play, the Islanders were able to show Bob Berry and the Penguins earlier in the period. You can imagine he's not looking forward to have to kill off this penalty.
He's already been ejected from one hockey game this year. A few weeks ago in Hartford, he was given the heave-ho. Very vocal, very competitive. That's the way he was as a player, as was Jim Roberts, his assistant coach. And nobody becomes a coach that was a competitive player that doesn't carry that competitiveness onto the bench. Bob Berry is a prime example of that.
Killing the penalty, Erie, Shabbat, Mo Mantha, and Jim Johnson in front of Gilles Melange. Here's Ryan Trottier. Tough puck to handle. Look at Potvin picking out of thin air. Lighter into the corner. This is LaFontaine. This group did a fine job on their first power play, but unable to score. Gilles Melange has stopped 9 shots already. That shot knocked down by Shabbat. Potvin keeping the puck in. Knocked down in front. Johnson can't clear. Here's Trottier looking for Bossy. Mike Bossy gets the puck. The irony is that both teams now have had 9 shots on goal. Leiter's shot deflected away. Here's Leiter again on a feed from Bossy to Potvin. Ooh, and he scores! Deflection. LaFontaine looked like he steered it by Melange. Islanders lead at 1-0.
Boy. I've always felt there's something pretty about a hockey goal when you can see the twine bulged. You see the way the twine just bulged out there on the deflection. Nice feed from Leiter over to Potvin. Could fire it. He one-times it, which means not even stopping it. LaFontaine did get a stick on it, I believe, and Melange was handcuffed completely. And from where Potvin was standing, I'm sure that was a beautiful sight. The twine is bulging back. There he is. He leads the national. He leads every defenseman that's ever played this game of hockey in every statistic. More goals than anyone, more assists. I believe he now needs 20 points to hit the 1,000-point mark in his career, which is phenomenal.
Dennis Potvin, the 33-year-old defenseman with a key shot from the point. Both teams at full strength. The Islanders still charging. It's 1-0. Pittsburgh trailing. Warren Young with a puck on with Duguay and Kevin LaValle. Young tries to make a final move. Can't get around the defenseman. Leiter. Makela clears the puck ahead. Nice feed to LaFontaine. Pat LaFontaine, knocked down after shooting the puck in, is given credit for this game's first goal. Warren Young to Ron Duguay, the former Ranger and Red Wing. With LaValle. Long shot, and Rudy is tested by Duguay. Here's Ken Morrow. Getting it up on the wing. And a heavy hit on Flatley. Carrying on is Bassett. Duguay, some nice back checking. And Mo Mantha plays the puck. LaValle knocks his man down. Flatley a shot off the skate of Bob Bassett. Bob Bassett, the youngster, centers the puck. Mantha might well have cleared it, just kind of guides it, and Jansson's shot is wide. Flatley trying to center, and the puck deflects into the crowd. 8:26 here in the first period. LaFontaine gets the goal, his 12th of the year from Potvin and Leiter. And Bill Clement, LaFontaine, quite a story. He had only 1 goal in the first 8 games. Now has 11 in the last 13.
Well, following that 1 goal in 8 games, Ken, he got 6 goals in 3 games. One of those was a game that we did in here. He got 2 goals against the Washington Capitals, and then he went 3 games without a goal. So he is definitely a streak scorer, the star of the U.S. Olympic team in 1984, although they didn't come close to matching the feats of the 1980 team. He was one of their leading players that year, 84.
That Islanders power play, 3rd best in the NHL, giving Terry Simpson's club the 1-0 lead. Mantha around the boards. Janssen pinches in, and then Mantha gets the puck right back out to Terry Ruskowski. He stopped, and here's Ken Morrow, another Islander of Olympic fame. Janssen played in the Olympics with Sweden in 1980 at Lake Placid. The Trottier back to Sutter. Wayne Sutter steering it around the boards, and Janssen will have to come to center ice. 1-0. The New York Islanders lead with less than 10 minutes remaining in the opening period. Mantha stopped by Trottier in front. Bossy! And he can't get the shot on goal. Shabbat, a neat behind the back pass to Bob Erie, along with the veteran Willie Lindstrom. And Janssen cuts off Erie. This is Janssen in the corner with a puck, helped out by Ken Morrow. And he drives the puck to center ice. Doug Bodger on defense now with Chris Dahlquist. He plays the puck ahead and gets it right back. Dahlquist in his second game since coming up from Baltimore, the American Hockey League, watches as Shabbat gets the puck in. Gord Dineen around to Paul Flatley. Flatley on a line centered by Brent Sutter, who has the puck. The other wing is Richard Crom, and back for it now goes Dahlquist. Pittsburgh's just clearing the zone. They trail 1-0. Coming off 2 stupendous road victories in a row. Crom. And Potvin will have to rag the puck a bit. Brent Sutter plays it to Gord Dineen.
Ken, we talked about the shots on goal a minute ago. There had to be something wrong with their shot scoreboard. It's 11-4. You had mentioned 10-9, which I think was up there at the time. I was saying to myself, where did the Penguins get 9 shots from? They've corrected it.
I thought maybe they included some practice shots from noon today. It's 11-4 shots on goal. Rudy has made 4 saves. Malash has stopped 10 of 11. Lemieux is stopped. And Potvin just clears the puck into the Pittsburgh zone, where it'll be played by Billy Siren. Islanders change on the go. Schmidt headmans the puck, and Simpson backhands it in. It's Lemieux with Ruskowski and Simpson for Pittsburgh, trying to hem the Islanders in a little bit. Simpson does a good job as he bounces off Conroy. Leiter takes out Ruskowski, and it's LaFontaine getting the puck right back.
I wonder if the Islanders will try and get a change here. Terry Simpson told us today the only line he didn't want against Lemieux was LaFontaine's, and LaFontaine's line is out there now.
Conroy missing just by a couple of inches. Crawley tips the puck in, and Kelly Rudy will play it. Very patiently, then loses it. Honeyworth trying to hit Lemieux in front, can't reach him, and the Islanders quickly get the puck out. Pittsburgh in this first period has not been able to slow down the Islanders at all, even at center ice, let alone in the Islanders' own end. The Islanders have pretty much been freewheeling, and they lead 1-0.
Right, Ken. When they give them the neutral zone, they've been able to penetrate and really body check, do a lot of aggressive forechecking, and they're going to have to start choking them off. You're exactly right, in the neutral zone, to deny them access to their defensive zone.
Crawley trying to get the puck in front. Quinn, new to this Pittsburgh team, coming over in the Mike Bullard deal from Calgary, trying to center and is unable to. Wayne Sutter pokes the puck to center ice. Here's Warren Young. Doug Bodger, nice move by Bodger. He's had a good year, and he's knocked down by Ken Morrow. Trottier has his pass broken up by Young. And Dahlquist with the puck. Here's a chance for Pittsburgh. Lindstrom trying to get in around Janssen. Rudy way out of the net, playing the puck to Dwayne Sutter. On to Tomas Janssen. There's a perfect example. 2 Penguins were in. The Islanders just blow out of their own zone to center ice. Bossy sets up Dwayne Sutter. His shot off Malash in the side of the net.
Whoa.
And behind Malash. That goes through the crease, and a fight breaks out between Warren Young of Pittsburgh.
And it's one of the Sutters.
Yeah, that's a Sutter face.
Well, one wears number 12 and one wears number 21, and they look very similar in appearance facially, so you get the 1 and the 2 out there.
That's Dwayne.
That's Dwayne. He has led the Islanders team. Boy, he looks like he might be hurt. I wonder if it's his shoulder.
So there's a break in the action. The New York Islanders won. The Pittsburgh Penguins no score.
It looked as if Dwayne Sutter was favoring his shoulder, and I said, I hope it's not his shoulder, as we look at the other combatant, Warren Young. And the reason I was concerned about his shoulder, Dwayne had surgery. Here he is trying to beat Young. We'll see if we can pick them up to the right of the screen. Well, a little slash Warren Young. It looks from here as if Warren just went after him and said, I'm going to take on one of the Sutter brothers. I was mentioning Dwayne had surgery at the end of last season, and the one problem the Sutter brothers have all seemed to have, Ken, is shoulder problems. Brian, at the present time, is out in St. Louis. Darryl has had in Chicago. Of course, for those who may have just tuned into this game of hockey, we're speaking of the 6 Sutter brothers in the National Hockey League. They all have vulnerable shoulders for some reason, and Dwayne is no exception.
Hey, they've been lifting out in Viking, Alberta every summer at the farm. They had to have the strongest shoulders in the world. The penalties for roughing, by the way, to Young and Sutter at 13:23 here in the first period.
Ken, the major difference is those bales don't swing back.
This is the other Sutter, Brent Sutter. He's 24 in his 6th season. He leaves the puck. Akalai's shot, and Malash gets a piece of that. Potvin to Flatley, and Duguay clears the puck and sends it the length of the ice. Gord Dineen, from a hockey family himself, touches the puck, and it is icing called against Pittsburgh with 5:54 remaining in period number 1. If they could win it here, what a finish it would be, because The Penguins have lost 9 straight here at the Nassau Coliseum, so they're trying to go for 3 in a row that would be very unusual in the win column at Calgary, at Washington, and at the Island.
They have won 2 here in the last 20, dating back to 1980. The real building that they have to conquer is the Spectrum. It goes back to, I was discussing it with someone, I'm not sure I have the year right, but I'm within one. 1974, since the Pittsburgh Penguins have won in Philadelphia.
Here's Lindstrom. Look at the poke check by Ken Leiter. Lindstrom carries on nicely to the far circle. Bodger a shot, and Rudy grabs that and holds on. There's been plenty of action in the first period. The Islanders have the only goal. They lead it 1-0.
Behind our linesman is Ken Leiter, who came up with a sterling defensive play before we left you, diving for the puck. Stefan Pearson was the culprit that sprung Willie Lindstrom loose. Watch the left of your screen while we change the shot, but a nice dive by Leiter. And he's a kid that had come to camp for a couple of years and was sent down every year. This year he said, I am going to feel as if I belong and I will refuse to go down in my own mind. He set the goal of making this Islanders team, and anyone that needs a lesson in mind over matter and goal setting to talk to Ken Leiter about it. He is here and been very steady for the New York Islanders along with Steve Conroy. He's been paired with him regularly this season.
Conroy shoots the puck in, and the Penguins bring it right back. Willie Lindstrom leaves the puck for Dahlquist. There'll be a penalty coming up. Conroy collided behind the net with Lindstrom, and Don Koharski is going to call a holding penalty. That'll be the first penalty of the night against the Islanders. It remains the Islanders 1 and the Penguins nothing.
Henry off for holding. You can see to the left of your screen along the boards. See if he gets that left arm out. Well, Don Koharski didn't have a view. You can see the referee standing right behind Henry. He didn't have a good view of it. As a result, I'm sure that he made an appropriate call, but I will say again that we have a different vantage point than referees do.
Pittsburgh with the man advantage. Mo Mantha, bouncing puck that he's unable to control, and Conroy clears at the length of the ice. 15:07, the time of the holding penalty to Dale Henry. Young and Sutter remain in the penalty box, but they picked up coincidental roughing penalties. No man shortage for either side. 4:25 left. First period. LaFontaine's power play goal, the only goal, as the Islanders have the lead. On the near boards, some heavy congestion, and here's Doug Bodger. He's on one point, Mantha is on the other. Pittsburgh with a power play. Conroy, who's played extremely well, shoots the puck the length of the ice.
And he's played well all year. Talking to the people that see the Islanders play game in and game out, he has been their steadiest defenseman and was, I think, following the trade. He came here when the John Tonelli trade last year and started.
Lemieux shoots wide. He was set up by Dan Quinn.
I was saying started on a steady note and finished on a steady note last season. He's picked up where he's left off and has really been an asset. Bill Torrey's looking pretty good in that trade, I would say, right now.
Here's Ruskowski with Quinn. Can't quite reach him. The other forward is Lemieux. Siren on one point and Johnson on the other. Here's Siren to Johnson. He's got Ruskowski in front. The deflection. And Kelly Rudy makes the save.
Good concentration by Kelly Rudy.
Pittsburgh was moving the puck very well there.
And the screen just coming into play. Ruskowski moving through Kelly Rudy's field of vision on this shot. Puck coming. That's when Ruskowski tries to move in front to screen, and where Rudy's concentration really comes into play. It's like having a batter standing up there and being the catcher, but having the batter jumping around and also having somebody hanging on his back. So when the screen happens is when goalies really have to rely on that concentration that got them where they are, whether they want to be there or not. So many kids end up being goalies because they can't skate when they're kids, and before they know it, the better ones are getting paid pretty good money to stop that rubber out there.
40 seconds left in Dale Henry's penalty. Siren shot wide. Quinn trying to steer it in front, and finally coming up with it, penalty killer Greg Gilbert. Killing the penalty with Trottier. Also Janssen. He's stopped by Simpson, but keeps the puck in. Bodger headmans quickly. Hugh tied up. Leaves the puck for Simpson with Dan Quinn, and now Tomas Janssen for the Islanders. Over to Greg Gilbert. 13 seconds remaining in Henry's penalty.
Ken, we were wondering out loud before the game if Dan Quinn would be on this power play. He's out there, and boy, he led the Calgary Flames in power play goals last year. We had assumed that he was going to be out there. He is part of Pittsburgh's power play already. He scored 17 power play goals last year for the Flames.
Brent Sutter taken out by Siren. Lemieux looking for the puck with that big crowd. It's flatly back to the point. Frawley intercepts. Both teams are at full strength. The penalty time to Henry is up. Here's Leiter. Both teams are changing on the go. 2.5 minutes left in the first period here at the Nassau Coliseum. Pat LaFontaine with the puck and the only goal of the period. Feeds on the right wing to Makela, out of his reach, and the play is offside. New York, and we check in with George Grand.
Thank you very much, Ken. Coming up in between periods, a reminder here on the NHL tonight, we'll be keeping up to date on the Bobby Carpenter situation, have the weekend review, take a look at the Bud Light hockey news, and of course keep you up to date on the scoreboard, where Montreal is now leading Quebec 1-0 on McPhee's goal in the first period. Let's go back to Uniondale.
Duguay to face off here with LaFontaine. LaFontaine centering Makela and Gilbert. Duguay on with Young and Crawley. Mo Mantha, very offensive-minded defenseman, and the puck deflects off the Islander player Conroy and into the crowd with 2:14 left in this opening period.
Islanders coach Terry Simpson feels that the next little stretch for the Islanders, he was saying today, is very crucial. They really want to pick up some points, and when you look at their schedule, you'll know why he feels that way. They play tomorrow night back in Pittsburgh, another Patrick Division game. Their following game is here against the Philadelphia Flyers, who are tough to anyone in any building. Following that, they go on the road for 4 games, 3 out west, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and then hit Boston, the Gardens in Boston, for a game. And all the points you can get before Christmas are so valuable because teams start to grow claws and fangs and sprout all those aggressive features following the Christmas season, because the playoffs are beginning to come into view at the end of the tunnel, and nobody's easy then. So every coach wants to get points at this stage of the game.
Islanders lead it 1-0 at center ice. Conroy on defense with Leiter. Makela on the wing to LaFontaine up the middle, and the Islanders looking to change. Bodger to Frawley. Frawley shot and a save by Rudy. Gordoni out to Makela. This feed too far for Dwayne Sutter, and Mantha gives the puck to Johnson, and Frawley covers up. Duguay breaks to the blue line, and the pass deflects away from him. Here's Trottier. He had 96 points last season. He's the leading scorer for the Islanders with 25 points this year, and he can't quite get the puck to Dwayne Sutter. Mantha around the boards for Lindstrom, too far, kept in by Potvin. Here's Mike Bossy, quick wrist shot right on the save, and trying to kick the puck was Trottier, but good work by Gilles Meloche. And Bill Clement, boy oh boy, what a quick release by Mike Bossy. I guess that could be one of the reasons he scores so many goals.
50 goals, 9 straight seasons. He has scored over 60 goals, 6 seasons. And the one thing I like about the way Bossy and Trottier work together, and you mentioned that they've been together so long, they have tried, Al Arbor has tried separating them. Terry Simpson tried separating them. They are such close friends off the ice. They are like Mutt and Jeff, and they are more effective when they play together on the ice. The thing I like about them in tonight's game is that every time Bossy has shot the puck, Trottier has been there for the rebound, and vice versa. They really can sense one another. Instead of standing in front of the net, taking a beating, waiting for that shot to come, Bossy seems to sense when Trottier is shooting it, and vice versa, so they can move to it and save their bodies a little bit. It's tough sledding in front of the net.
Last minute of play in the period. Final minute.
Richard Crom, less than a minute to go. Screen shot wide. Meloche off the end boards, covers up, and we'll have a face-off deep in the Pittsburgh zone. These two teams, by the way, are going to get together tomorrow night in Pittsburgh. So they're seeing each other for the first time this season, and they'll play twice in 48 hours. And Pittsburgh will have a sellout crowd tomorrow night. They have 4 or 5 sellouts apparently set in their upcoming games. They've had big crowds at the Civic Arena.
And good for them. It's surprising that they're still in Pittsburgh after the lean years. You know, they've only made the playoffs in 10 of their 19 seasons. They've only finished above 500, something ridiculous, like 4 or 5 seasons out of those 19. So they are due, and the people that have supported them are due, and it's nice to see. We're happy for all the people in Pittsburgh.
Richard Crom, forecheck by Shabbat. Potvin with 35 seconds remaining in the first period. A LaFontaine power play goal, and the Islanders lead 1-0. Deneen firing the puck in. Siren back off the boards for Lindstrom. He looks for Shabbat, has trouble controlling the puck with Flatley all over him. Up from the point, Deneen. The puck goes high and loops into the crowd to stop play with 20 seconds to go. Bob Erie plays good defense, former #1 draft pick. He's only 22 years of age, playing really, I guess, Bill, on what you would call a checking line.
Everybody needs one of those, no matter who you are. If you try and stock your team with 4 scoring lines, you'll end up in trouble. That's one of the things the Penguins have tightened up on, is their checking, their 3rd and 4th lines. take a look at the #1 all-time defenseman in the National Hockey League, #5, Dennis Potvin, with his back to us.
Nice.
Did you see that recovery? I wondered what that replay was leading to, and it was a great last-minute effort by the best.
10 seconds to go in the period. Jim Johnson, the young defenseman, yanked down by Ken Morrow. He tried to get the arms out. No, it wasn't me. But the veteran, Ken Morrow, out of Bowling Green State and one of the stars on the '80 U.S. Olympic team, will go to the penalty box.
Said Ken Morrow, or at least Jimmy Johnson, yanked down. I would have said Jimmy Johnson jumps down. Watch his legs go out from his stick.
Well, he was jumping over that little block there.
He was jumping over the imaginary line, which makes the referee call a penalty, and that's exactly what he did. It's effective. It's helping out the situation. A lot of players are good at it. Morrow sits.
NHL tonight on ESPN. 2-minute hooking penalty at 19:52 to Ken Morrow. Our next action, the Oilers and the North Stars. That'll be Tuesday night, December 9th, here on ESPN.
Can you talk about checking lines and defensive players? The Minnesota North Stars made their most recent trade with the Rangers to get Bob Brook, to get a guy that could go up and down and play a grinding defensive style. They felt that they had too many offensive forwards. The Penguins did for a number of years too. They don't any longer.
And that is the end of period #1. Morrow's penalty, of course, will carry on into period #2. In the first period, the Islanders outshoot Pittsburgh by a mark of 12-7. The only goal in this hockey game, the Pat LaFontaine goal at 8:26. Potvin and Leader draw the assists. After 20 minutes of play, the New York Islanders won. The Pittsburgh Penguins, no score.
Leading 1-0.
And to start the period, the Islanders' Ken Morrow in the penalty box. Still has 1:52 to go in his penalty. Malage busy in the first period. Rudy saw only 7 shots. Islanders lead it 1-0 on Pat LaFontaine's power play goal. And the Islanders get the puck and clear it away. Mantha goes back. He's on one point. Bodger is on the other. Lavalle's on the left wing. The big guy, Lemieux, is in the middle. Ruskowski is on the right wing, and Bodger drives the puck in. Rudy leaving it for Steve Conroy. And the Penguins will have to start out from behind their own net again.
You know, when you dump the puck into the zone the way Bodger did that time, you have to make sure you get all of it. I thought that he did shoot that puck hard enough to get it around Kelly Rudy. That shows you how quick Rudy is. He got out behind his net along the boards and stopped the puck.
Here's Bodger. Leiter blocks the shot. Lemieux. Mantha. Lemieux trying to use that long reach. Not long enough. Both teams changing players. 1 minute to go in the Pittsburgh power play. Lavalle off the boards to Ruskowski. Screening Lemieux. Ruskowski behind Lavalle. At the left point, Bodger. Lavalle to Bodger again. Bodger's shot blocked by Trottier. Crom unable to clear it. Hits the boot of Johnson. Lavalle. Ruskowski in the corner. Lemieux is in the near circle. And Trottier intercepts, clears the zone. There's 25 seconds to go in Ken Morrow's penalty.
Ryan Trottier, 30 years old, still willing to lay it down, lay his body down, his life down for the team. Great block. Bodger lowered his head to shoot, and Trottier was right there to block it. Boy, he's an all-around player.
Lemieux. Simpson. Craig Simpson. Dan Quinn. 5 seconds to go in the power play. Rudy comes up with a glove save on Jim Johnson's effort. And Potvin clears the puck the length of the ice. Morrow back on.
I'll tell you, had he not made that save, it would have bulged Twine beautifully. Rudy with that great glove hand. That has to be, I think, his #1 asset, is that glove hand. And with talk of Kelly Rudy's glove hand, we're going to see if George Grand wants to say something.
Thank you very much, Bill. A reminder that the NHL Tonight is being brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. By Casio, maker of the shock-resistant, water-resistant G-Shock. It's one tough watch to beat. And by Campbell's Chunky Soup, the soup that eats like a meal.
Wild.
Face-off coming up near Kelly Rudy.
He claims he learned to play goal by reading Jacques Blanc's book on goaltending, if you can believe that. He must have learned the basics from that, from being just a kid. You have to get out there and do it. Can you imagine reading a book on tennis and then getting out there and trying to hit the tennis ball?
I've been reading that book on how to become an instant millionaire And I don't believe those books work. Never worked for me.
Both teams at full strength. 2:05 gone, second period. Islanders with a puck. LaFontaine having trouble. And here is Gilbert. He's got Makela on the right wing. Simpson lifts his stick. Back for the puck goes Ken Morrow. No icing. Randy Cunneyworth all over him. Morrow with a bad knees throughout his career. LaFontaine throwing his weight around against Frawley. Here is Cunneyworth. He's hemmed in. He was thinking point, but Gilbert had one point covered. Makela had the other covered. Here's Cunneyworth. And that shot blocked by Morrow. From behind the net, Quinn, and no one in front of the net. And Morrow shoots the puck into the crowd. Early second period action. The Islanders on top, 1-0.
Beeks has scored twice in the second period. Alain Cote his 6th. Anton Stastny his 8th. They now lead Montreal by a score of 2-1 in the second period. Let's go back to Uniondale.
Islanders lead it here 1-0. Face off deep in the New York zone. Duguay facing off against Bob Basson, the 21-year-old second-year pro. Brad Lauer, who's only 20, plays the puck around the boards. And it's center ice Ron Duguay. He should have waited, didn't. Warren Young clears the zone on the delayed offside. New rule this year. Islanders come out. Basson stopped, Young stopped, and here's Dahlquist getting the puck in. Around the boards it comes to Brad Lauer. He's hit by Duguay. Leiter to Conroy. And here come the Islanders. Basson giving it back to Dale Henry. He's beaten to the puck by Bodger. And here's Kevin LaValle, who played with St. Louis last year. Had the big game here on the NHL tonight when we saw Pittsburgh earlier against New Jersey. Galash makes a save in the long shot. Young clears the zone. And the puck will go the length of the ice.
Ken, I actually had to apologize to Kevin LaValle this morning. He had 3 goals and 3 assists in that game in Pittsburgh that we did. You mentioned on NHL Tonight. And he wasn't our player of the game. It just so happened that Kirk Muller of the New Jersey Devils ended up with 3 goals and 3 assists that game. And the Devils won the game, so we had to give it to the guy who played on the winning side. Big Warren Young was involved in that scrap earlier with Dwayne Sutter. I wonder sometimes if a guy like Warren Young isn't just out there trying to make sure that he maintains his position in the lineup. He struggled this year after rejoining the Penguins from Detroit, and he seemed to run Dwayne Sutter into the boards and just simply drop the gloves and go at him earlier. Sutter got a hold of him, but players do that sometimes just to stay in the lineup.
Yep, there Brad Lauer, the youngster for the Islanders, dropped his gloves. He was ready at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
There'll be no penalties here.
It's one thing to drop the gloves when you're in tight with someone.
Speaking of in tight with someone, she says if only we were not at a hockey game, I'd be awake, but I still like your shoulder.
Another avid Islanders fan. Lady, don't you understand? They're winning 1-0, and this is a great hockey game. There's something going on.
You get the idea she wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for him?
Do I have to go?
Makela shot high. LaFontaine gets something on it with Mantha all over it. Dineen keeps the puck in. Here's Mo Mantha for Pittsburgh. Puck will go the length of the ice. Dineen and Erie in a race. Erie seemed to touch the puck first. The faceoff will come back. And there's 16:06 to go in this first period, and the linesman trying to determine if it was an icing or an offside play, and Ray Scapanello tells young linesman Mark Vines it in fact was an icing.
I think he had them both pegged. Had Erie touched it, it would have been an offside, because Erie was in fact on the Islanders side of center when the puck was shot from inside his own zone, so he was positioned poorly for that. So one way or the other, we would have gotten a stoppage of play.
This Islanders team has been very dominant here at home. When we were here earlier on ESPN, we saw them smash the Washington Capitals. The Islanders are 8-3 here at home. Of course, Pittsburgh hosting New York tomorrow night. In Pittsburgh is 8-1-1. These two teams both off to very good starts, especially Pittsburgh. They have 28 points, second best in the NHL, 2 points behind Philadelphia. And of course, Philadelphia leading the Patrick division, which includes both Pittsburgh and the Islanders. Dineen to Makela. Makela across the rink for LaFontaine. They did him no favors. Simpson really drilling LaFontaine. Schmidt taken out. Good play. Gilbert, who in LaFontaine was ready to pull the trigger as Dineen keeps the puck in. Siren Around to Simpson. He sees the big guy Lemieux. Look at Lemieux take the pass from behind, plays it in front of him, and the shot blocked by Denis. And when you play with a player like Lemieux, you tend to always look for him. Here's Bossy, but he loses the puck as he had a potential breakaway. Norm Schmidt to Mario Lemieux. On to Billy Siren. Terry Ruskowski. Little shovel pass. And unable to play it is Simpson. Trottier against Schmidt. Bossy. Janssen moving right in. Thomas Janssen, a backhand shot hits a leg. Either that of Siren or goalkeeper Gilles Melange. 5:17 gone here in period 2. It's been scoreless. Islanders lead 1-0 on Pat LaFontaine's first period power play goal. Mario Lemieux trying to get Pittsburgh on the board. Sees the check coming from Dwayne Sutter. Stops. Dwayne Sutter takes the puck right away. Ooh, and Dwayne Sutter takes a slash on the leg from Lemieux. And that's just a little something to remember me by as Lemieux sends Lindstrom in. Back to Lemieux. And Rudy has it between the pads. What a shot by Mario Lemieux. It's the Islanders 1 and the Penguins 0.
About the Islanders' successful home season so far this year. They've had trouble on the road, haven't they, Ken? And one of the reasons, they're pretty young. I talked to Terry Simpson today. Here's Janssen's chance. Let's see if it hits the back. Boy, we can't tell from that angle. He moved in and really made a nice move to his backhand.
Lemieux at the other end.
At the other end. Rudy lost that under him. And Lemieux can fire the puck a lot better than people give him credit for, too. He really has a good shot.
Shabbat into the corner for Pittsburgh. Dale Henry beats him to it. Can't clear the puck by Mantha, and he cuddles it against his body long enough for another faceoff.
Talking about the Islanders being young. They are the second youngest team in the National Hockey League this year. And some people think that young teams play better on the road. I think that it's more difficult for them. That little extra adrenaline that they get from playing in front of their hometown crowd isn't there. Terry Simpson, the coach of the Islanders, agrees, and it's just a matter of being in a strange environment, and sometimes it's intimidating, not only on the ice, but being in the strange building. And young teams consistently, I feel, have more trouble on the road than at home, and the Islanders' record this year would bear that out.
Conroy takes out Frawley. Quinn leaves the puck in the far corner. Brad Lauer plays it. He's a first-year pro, loses the puck to Dan Frawley, the 24-year-old ex-Blackhawk. Quinn can't move in, goes down, and the puck cleared out, and Jim Johnson goes back for it. Islanders lead 1-0. The Islanders' road record is 3-5-1. No goal, penalty called. A hooking penalty by Don Koharski will be called against Bob Bassett. So a penalty against the Islanders. Power play coming up for Pittsburgh. They're looking to tie it. The New York Islanders lead it 1-0. Puck controlled by the Islanders, shooting it in. Bassett, 2-minute hooking penalty at 6:26 here in the second period, which has been scoreless. Billy Siren is on defense with Bodger, who has the puck. LaValle is on the left wing now. He has the puck. Ruskowski will barrel into the right wing corner. Beaten to the puck by Potvin, and it goes into the crowd. And the big guy, number 66, Mario Lemieux, is back on the ice. Boy, you talk about names. You got Dennis Potvin here, and what a big name he has been, as we have chronicled. You've got Mike Bossy, tremendous goal scorer. Brian Trottier, tremendous all-around player. And Bob Berry in Pittsburgh, featuring Mario Lemieux. Some true stars of this game tonight. You know, Ken, some of these names are so big. Terry Simpson brought up this interesting point today. By the way, it was our first time meeting Terry Simpson, and we... Mantha shoots it wide. The big guy Lemieux wide.
I'll get back to Terry Simpson when I get a chance.
Here's Bodger. Power play Pittsburgh. Mantha, quick shot wide. Lemieux. Pittsburgh's power play 11th in the NHL. Successful 22% of the time. The Islanders have not been great killing the penalty. They're just so-so. LaValle. There's a minute 8 to go in the Pittsburgh power play. Bodger. Brent Sutter, Pat Flatley, the forwards, killing the penalty. Denis makes that block. Potvin can't clear. Mantha, high shot. Over the crossbar. Lemieux shoots. Ooh, what a sliding save by Rudy to rob Mario Lemieux of his 21st goal of the season.
I don't know how he saw him, let alone get over to him, but somehow Kelly Rudy did and stopped the big guy. I think if Lemieux had sensed that that Rudy would get there, he might have shelved it and gone right up on top of the net, but I don't think he thought Rudy could get there.
35 seconds remaining in Basson's Islander penalty. On the charge, Simpson trying to center. LaValle, a blast that flex and goes right to Leiter. To Trottier. Richard Crom can't make the move around Bodger. Pittsburgh with a man advantage for another 20 seconds. They trail 1-0. Simpson leaves the puck for Lemieux. Over to Quinn. A stick save by Rudy on Dan Quinn. 10 seconds and Basson will be back on. This is Lemieux. Siren shot deflects to Rudy with a pad save. Oh, we've seen some tremendous goaltending tonight at both ends. There's an offside pass. The penalty to Basson is over. Both teams are again at full strength, and this crowd on Long Island is loving the action as the Islanders lead the Penguins 1-0.
Late for the New York Islanders. First period, it was all the other end, and Gilles Meloche was tested. Here's a look at a shot that was blocked and then deflected over the net, and that's the chance Mario Lemieux had. He went low with it. Boy, Rudy didn't take long to get over there. Here's another angle. Now, Rudy looks over his left shoulder to the right. He sees Lemieux and has very little time to move, but somehow gets there.
11.5 minutes, the time remaining in the second period. 1-0. Islanders lead. LaFontaine intercepts. Sends Mikko Mäkelä on a breakaway. Mäkelä shoots. The save by Meloche, and he has it under his leg. Mikko Mäkelä. The Finn moved right in on Meloche.
Had he scored, most of the people in this building probably would not have been aware of the fact that there was a delayed penalty called because it would have been waved off. He did not score. Koharski had his arm up in the air because LaFontaine was pulled down. Watch LaFontaine pulled down here. Right here, he will be pulled down as he passes to Mäkelä, and Koharski was going to call that penalty. Mäkelä misses on the breakaway after a great save by Gilles Meloche. Meloche right out at the edge of his crease, taking away that angle so that Mäkelä didn't have much to shoot at. I'm sure if Mäkelä had it to do over again, given the fact that Meloche was out that far, he might have chosen to deke and move to one side or the other, but he shot. Meloche was there.
Shabbat, 2 minutes for tripping at 8:39. Power play for the Islanders. They are 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. At the point, Leiter looking for Janssen at the right point. In the slot, Trottier, right circle, LaFontaine, Bossy at the left circle. Bossy now in the slot. Trottier can't find him open, and Janssen just shakes his head down in disgust as I think he was looking up before he really was able to handle the puck.
I think it might have hit something in the ice can and simply bounced right over his stick.
Here's LaFontaine trying to hit Bossy. Tomas Janssen killing the penalty. Quinn, Erie, the forwards. Manta on defense with Johnson. Trottier shot, and the save by Meloche. Here's Mike Bossy. And Leiter unable to take that pass, which was thrown his way rather sharply. 1:10 to go in the Islanders power play. Their power play goal by LaFontaine in the first period. The only goal here tonight at the Nassau Coliseum. Trottier to Leiter. Wrist shot wide. Trottier trying to center. Thrown in front by LaFontaine, and Bossy can't get a good shot away. The Islanders have been very potent on their power play. They've had a lot of shots, a lot of opportunities like this. Bossy. They have 45 seconds remaining with a man advantage. Leiter, and the shot deflects off Bob Erie and into the crowd behind Gilles Meloche. Leiter has been a very dominant player tonight for New York.
Not bad for a kid that just made up his mind he was going to stick with his team. Not only has he stuck, he's playing the power play. The Islanders have really been able to put consistent pressure on. When you have a power play that can gain the zone, meaning set up and pass the puck around the way they are, you can be pretty well assured that sooner or later, if you move it around and take time with your shots, you're going to get good scoring opportunities, and it would follow that you score goals. The Islanders have been very impressive on the power play tonight.
As we mentioned earlier, they have been successful 26% of the time. The Islanders with the 3rd best power play in the NHL. They lead 1-0. Second period. Hatta. Janssen. Brent Sutter in front. The shot deflects over. Mäkelä. Brent Sutter. Backhand shot. He scores. Brent Sutter.
Well, you can only handle so much pressure when you're defending. The Islanders have been pressing. Here's the shot from Thomas Janssen. It's like holding your finger in a dike. You can only stop the water from flowing for so long. Meloche will come to the side here to block Makela, and as a result, is out of position. Great effort by Billy Siren. You can see him kneeling in the crease, trying to act as goalie while Meloche was out. But boy, when you start scrambling and get out of position, someone covers for someone else. There's a Penguin attempting to block that shot. Deflected up over the net. Now watch Meloche throw himself down here, and Makela, in misfiring, directed it actually to Brent Sutter, who was able to beat Billy Siren with the shot.
13th goal of the year for Brent Sutter. Only Bossy with 14 has more this year for the Islanders. From the face-off after the goal, Pittsburgh with a shot on goal. Rudy a glove save. Now the face-off near Kelly Rudy. It's 2-0. New York Islanders leading the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're glad you're with us on ESPN for the NHL tonight. As Bodger's shot goes wide, Ruskowski on with Simpson and Lemieux. Bodger moves in, Rudy out, and somehow Bodger just missed. He let a blistering shot go. Johnson, Makela the assists on Brent Sutter's goal at 10-12 here in the second period. It's 2-0 New York. Simpson trips. Flatley with a puck. Lemieux steals out to Simpson, and he's poke checked by Brent Sutter. Ken Morrow to Richard Crom. He can't get around the rookie Chris Dahlquist. Bodger for Pittsburgh. Just off the bench, Frawley with a bouncing puck, can't control. Crom clears the puck out, and it's Norm Schmidt for Pittsburgh. 8:45 remaining in the second period. It's actually been a good period for Pittsburgh, but the only goal is come from the Islanders. Siren into the slot to Lemieux. A beautiful pass, and Lemieux is stopped by Rudy. The shot partially deflected. Crom has Flatley in front of him, and the Islanders just elect to change players.
Well, Brian Trottier threw a body into Lemieux behind the Islanders' goal, and Lemieux, what did he do with Bossy, or when Trottier was skating away from him? Gave him a little lumber the way he did to Dwayne Sutter earlier. I think the big guy is giving notice around the National Hockey League that he is through taking a beating, which he did during his rookie year and quite a bit last year, and he's going to start dishing it out. You'd be surprised at the number of players that will think twice now before taking a shot at him.
Rudy makes the save. Dwayne Sutter back on the right wing to Brian Trottier, who crisscrosses with Mike Bossy. Centering effort to the point. Potvin, and that shot goes wide. In this period, the Penguins have outshot the Islanders 8-5. After the Islanders outshot Pittsburgh 12-7 in the opening period. Duguay trying to turn in. Just pinned to the boards by Dwayne Sutter. And Deneen in trouble. Gets the puck to Bossy on to Trottier. 7:20 to go in the period. Brian Trottier drop pass. Brent Sutter, or rather Dwayne Sutter, going the other way. Duguay just gets the puck in, and Pittsburgh will complete a line change. Deneen to Dwayne Sutter. Meloche will stop this for Doug Bodger. Lindstrom to Erie. Jabot can't get the puck back to Lindstrom. He takes out his man Lauer. Rudy steers the puck to Bob Bassett. Conroy, and puck turned on goal by Henry. Bodger clears the zone for the Pen. Leiter nicely to Lauer, on to Henry. He falls down, and the Penguins Bob Erie. Knocked down by Ken Leiter. That opens a lane for Bassett as he's hit by Bodger, and the puck kept in by the Islanders. Chris Dahlquist. And clear. Janssen right on, and the save by Milan. We're seeing a lot of Chris Dahlquist and Norm Schmidt on the defense tonight for Pittsburgh. They're thin. Randy Hillier and Rod Buskus are out with shoulder injuries. Mike Blaisdell out with a shoulder injury, and Dave Hannon not dressed for Pittsburgh tonight. He's out with a flu. The score, the New York Islanders 2, the Pittsburgh Penguins 0. Face off inside the Islanders blue line. They lead it 2-0. Just over 6 minutes left in the second period before a big crowd here at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. Craig Gilbert shooting the puck in, and Meloche there for Schmidt. Gilbert intercepts. LaFontaine's in front. He wants the puck, and he has his stick lifted. Too well covered was LaFontaine by Siren, who ends up with a puck. Playing it to Cunneyworth. He's on with Quinn and LaValle. LaValle trying to get around Gilbert. He looks for Cunneyworth, cutting in, and the puck off his skate. LaValle hit by Janssen. Quinn ridden out by Morrow. And Gilbert will skate to center ice. 4-on-2. Makela. Now Cunneyworth back. Here's Gilbert. Quick shot in front. LaFontaine stop. Loose puck. Backhand shot, and scoring on the play is Mikko Makela. 3-0 Islanders.
Well, you can see a frustrated Jill Meloche, if nothing else. The Islanders sprung loose with kind of a partial 4-on-3. Makela had made the original play. Meloche makes the save, ends up losing his balance. LaFontaine's on top of him. He's at the shooter's mercy. That is when he is saying, listen, someone has to be there to take Makela out before he gets the shot away, and just hope somebody gets back in time. Meloche down, LaFontaine on top with Ville Cyr. Makela's the next guy there. You have to get back and defend quicker than that. I'm sure Bob Barry will be upset at that lack of defensive hustle by the Penguins deep in their own end.
Islanders, Brent Sutter. Crom back in front and flatly knocked down. Here's Ruskowski to Mario Lemieux. Pittsburgh trailing it 3-0. Behind the net, Gord Denis. 4:45 is the time remaining in the second period. Back for the puck is Jim Johnson, the University of Minnesota Duluth product, and that's an icing call against the Islanders. Late in the second period, the Islanders lead it 3-0. In the first period, but I think generally they played pretty well in this period, and here they are trailing 3-0.
They have, but an indication of how well the Islanders are playing. Discipline, waiting for their chances, is the breakdowns that Pittsburgh has committed. The Islanders have capitalized on, and that's a sign of a team that's going pretty well. When you get your breaks, you have to put the puck in the net. The Islanders have done that. They also peppered Jill Meloche pretty severely in the first period, and he withstood the pressure. It's been the breakdowns in this period that have hurt the Penguins.
Out to center ice goes the puck. 14:48, the time of Makela's goal, his 7th of the year. LaFontaine and Gilbert assisting. So LaFontaine has a goal and an assist, and there'll be a penalty now as Mario Lemieux goes to the ice. We'll be back at the Nassau Coliseum, where the Islanders lead the Penguins 3-0.
Leaving stride. Here's where Denny simply lets him have it. I think his stick might have gotten caught under Mario's arms, but Lemieux was accelerating to a point where he was coming close to getting by Denny Potvin there. He had already passed one of the Islanders in the neutral zone. His stride is deceiving. He is much faster than he looks.
That hooking penalty at 15:36. Pittsburgh trying to get back in it. They have the man advantage. Pittsburgh has Bodger on one point, Mantha on the other. Up front, Ruskowski and LaValle are the wings, and Lemieux is the center. Pittsburgh 0 for 3 on the power play. Lemieux chasing after the puck. He has Brent Sutter all over him, and Gilbert plays the puck, and Pittsburgh will have to start out deep again in their own zone.
That time Lemieux had Sutter all over him, held him off, stick handled around him with one arm, and if it hadn't been for another Islander coming in, I think he probably would have been able to maintain possession. He's very, very strong, and it's tough not to refer to him as big guy because he's 6'5" out there. He's the tallest guy on the ice by a couple of inches.
Mantha, screen shot, and Rudy gets a piece of that. There's 1:09 to go in Potvin's penalty.
We talked earlier about Mo Mantha being one of the offensive sparks back in the Pittsburgh defense. He can really shoot the puck. Came to the Pittsburgh Penguins from the Winnipeg Jets, and general manager Eddie Johnson's most controversial trade to date. He hasn't wheeled and dealed all that much, I would say, Ken, by National Hockey League general manager standards. But Randy Carlyle had won the Norris Trophy as the National Hockey League's best defenseman the previous year. The very next year, he was traded to Winnipeg for Mo Mantha, and a lot of people in Pittsburgh weren't happy about it. Mo Mantha's come on and played very well for the Penguins.
Janssen has Trottier. Ooh, a poke check by Dan Quinn. That was a superb defensive play as Trottier was breaking in. Islanders lead 3-0 as Lemieux drives the puck in. Warren Young 30 seconds left in the power play. Quinn to Bodger. Poke check by Crum. Lemieux. Now Young. Here's Simpson. Quick shot by Bodger wide. Simpson did a good job picking out Bodger there. Morrow trying to clear the puck out, and it comes to center ice with 12 seconds left in Potvin's penalty. 2.5 minutes to go in the second period. Pittsburgh looking for their first goal of this game. Coming in off 2 tremendous road victories back-to-back. Potvin back on. Lemieux can't reach the pass. Bodger keeps the puck in. Stealing it is Potvin. He's yanked down by Bodger, and Doug Bodger is going to go off, and from a Pittsburgh power play, things will turn immediately to a New York Islanders power play.
Well, it didn't take Dennis Potvin long to contribute. He came out of the penalty box and promptly drew a penalty. I think Bodger's stick may have gotten tied up in his skates a little bit. The effect is a 2-minute advantage coming for the New York Islanders. There it is. I think Bodger was just had his stick there, and Dennis went to take a stride and jammed his legs against Bodger's stick. But from where Don Koharski, our referee tonight, was standing, it was a trip, and it was something that he had to call.
17:50, second period, 2-minute tripping penalty. Terry Simpson, 15 years in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, town of 35,000.
You know what his biggest adjustment was coming to this area?
No.
Traffic.
Yeah, there might be a little more.
And he said he was going to invest in a helicopter, but he thought he would wait until he had a few more wins under his belt, which might be advisable. He's quiet and he's thorough, but the word from the general managers that coached and worked against him in Western Canada was, don't misinterpret his silence as doubt, and don't misinterpret his patience as indecision. He really comes with great credentials from the people that worked against him.
Potvin. In front, Mantha. Islanders very effective with a man advantage tonight. They have scored twice with 3 opportunities, and they lead 3-0. Leiter to Bossy. LaFontaine moving in on the left wing, trailed by Trottier. Leiter at the left point, Potvin at the right point, and Duguay with a puck. Killing the penalty with Randy Cunnyworth, and defenseman Jim Johnson on the charge. Cunnyworth, he's got Duguay. Duguay on the rebound. And by that time, too much has happened.
It doesn't take long for things to close up. You saw an opportunity there, and how quickly was it taken away? Second.
Bossy really drilled by Billy Siren. Islanders power play. LaFontaine smash. Backhand effort. Saved, and Trottier scores on the rebound. If it's not Bossy, it's Trottier. And it's 4-0 Islanders. And their power play tonight has been devastating.
Special teams, we talk about them so often. If you have them working in your favor, you can win so many hockey games. Tonight, as evidence, is 4-0 Islanders. Bossy loses the puck here and backhands. Trottier's going to hit it out of midair. He didn't wait till that puck hit the ice. He just slapped it out of midair. You'll see Bossy lose it here. He doesn't know where it is. Now he picks it up, wheels for the backhand. Meloche down. The backhand is so difficult to read. I'm wondering if Meloche went down because he could not read. You cover more area when you go down in butterfly, and Bossy shoots the puck so well. It's a disadvantage, however, once you end up down in that position. As you saw, he stopped the puck, was down on his knees, couldn't control the rebound. It went up to Trottier, and he just slapped it in out of the air.
Just over 1 minute remaining in the second period. Duguay sweeps the puck to Frawley. Quick shot, Rooney the save. 4-0 Islanders. Goal number 6 this year for Brian Trottier. He, of course, has contributed many, many assists. Billy Siren trying to turn on Conroy. Siren banks the puck in. Here's Duguay. Young unable to take the pass. Dale Henry controls the puck nicely to Lauer. Off his skate to Bassett. And there's half a minute to go in a second period that has seen the Islanders score 3 times after Pittsburgh played their best hockey of the night earlier in the second period, and the puck covered right in front of the penalty bench.
You know, Terry Simpson, the Islanders coach, has a reputation of being able to work with young guys. He obviously has confidence in his young guys. Now he's changing lines. He had Bassin out there, Henry, Lauer, Leiter. 4 of his 5 people on the ice were rookies. And a 4-0 lead is sizable, but near the end of the period, with only a minute to go, it's a nice tribute to his rookies that he has them out there.
18:46, the time of the Islanders' third power play goal. Trottier from Bossy and LaFontaine. LaFontaine a goal and 2 assists tonight. Both teams at full strength with 8 seconds remaining. Second period, Lemieux to Ruskowski. He's all alone. Now Simpson moves in front of the net and on behind the net. And that'll be the end of the second period here at the Nassau Coliseum. 3 Islander goals. Brent Sutter, Mikko Makela, and Brian Trottier. And after 2 periods, it's the Islanders 4 and the Pittsburgh Penguins nothing. Underway here in the third period, as a matter of fact. It's 4-0. Islanders lead it. I'm Ken Wilson with Bill Clement. Islanders with a puck. Both teams starting the third period at full strength. Mike Bossy moves in, shoots, and Malage out to make the save on Bossy. Mantha trying to hold off Trottier. Can't do it. Quick shot. Bossy can save Malage. Mike Bossy in this hockey game has had himself 6 shots on goal. 6 of the 24 Islander shots. Here's Willie Lindstrom, the veteran. To Shabbat. And back for the puck is Brent Sutter. Less than a minute gone in the third period. Pittsburgh would like to get an early spurt here in this third period to get back in this game. And if nothing else, set the stage for tomorrow night's game at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh between these 2 teams. Leiter keeps the puck in flatly. Gets it ahead to Crom. He's bumped by Cunneyworth, shoved down, and a loose puck, and it'll be played by Dahlquist. Chris Dahlquist plays the puck off the boards. Rudy controls it for Leiter. To Brent Sutter. He is on with Crom and Flatley. Conroy over to Flatley. Back to Crom. He is alone. The shot, and Malage another save. And the Islanders have come out in this third period with a 4-0 lead and taken the play to Pittsburgh. Dan Quinn on with Cunneyworth and Frawley. This is Cunneyworth centering and Frawley in a bit too deep as Gilbert clears the puck out.
And I'm wondering how difficult it is to tell if the Pittsburgh Penguins have played that poorly. I think we'd have to watch the tape a couple of times on a replay. The Islanders have played so well. I don't think the Pittsburgh Penguins have had that terrible a hockey game. But boy, the last 2 times we've seen the Islanders, that's including tonight in this building, they have played solid hockey. They have played extremely well. We saw them beat Pittsburgh here on the NHL tonight handily, or I should say Washington. And tonight they have the 4-0 lead on Pittsburgh. Simpson, a step on Makela, but he gets a bump and LaFontaine gathers it in. He can't get it out. Kept in by Ruskowski. He'll shoot, and the save by Rudy. Ruskowski gets the puck right back to Lemieux. Trying to get Schmidt coming in from the right point. He can't get the pass through. Greg Gilbert. Well, the Islanders really, you're right, Bill, have been extremely impressive. They just don't give the opposition much room to move. They play extremely tight defense. Their power play has been magnificent, and that's been a big story tonight with 3 of their 4 goals on the power play. 4-0 Islanders lead Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has the puck. Johnson shoots it in. Deneen to Potvin. Up the middle. Basson firing the puck in. He is on with Henry and Lauer. Johnson around the boards. Deneen keeps the puck in. To Lauer, tied up by Johnson. One of the things I've noticed from the very start of this game, offensively, the New York Islanders defensemen have really stayed in at the point. They forced the play. That's been one of the key reasons why the Islanders have not been able to, or the Penguins have not been able to get out of their own end much. And the puck deflects into the crowd. And of course, you were a forward for many years in the NHL. When those defensemen stay in, Bill, take a few strides in, you just run out of space getting out of your own end. You run out of space. The thing that frees them up to do that, Ken, is having confidence in their own forwards. As a forward, I would always communicate verbally to the defenseman and yell at him, it's all right to pinch in along the boards. I've got you covered. I say, pinch, pinch, I've got you. And that's something that the Islanders are doing, communicating verbally, and the confidence that the defensemen have in the forwards, even the young kids, this all-rookie line that we just saw out here, they really believe in one another, and I believe that's one of the things that Terry Simpson has accomplished. I can't think of an instance tonight where an Islander defenseman has been caught up. Handing the puck away is Dahlquist. Here's LaFontaine and Makela. Now Gilbert, the backhand shot, the save, and the rebound wide.
Less than 4 minutes gone in the third period. A lot of time. LaFontaine crunched by Dahlquist, and it's Shabbat. 4-0. Penguins trail. LaFontaine, Brent Sutter, Makela, and Trottier, the goal scorers tonight for Terry Simpson's New York Islanders. Now let's go to George Graham.
Thank you very much. A final score now. Quebec has beaten Montreal 2-1. Your final on the goals by Cote and Anton Stastny in the second period, so things tighten up a bit now in the Adams division.
What a rivalry between Montreal and Quebec, and I would not be surprised at all if we saw those two teams at least once in the regular season here on the NHL tonight.
Boy, it makes for great hockey. That rivalry when Quebec came into the league, when the WHA merged with the National Hockey League in the late 70s, took about 4 hours to take hold, that giant rivalry between Quebec and Montreal, similar to the one between Calgary and Edmonton.
Schmidt. Pass deflects out of Quinn's reach. Leiter too far for Bossy. Siren for Pittsburgh. 4-0 Islanders. A chance for Quinn. Breaking with Frawley. 2-on-2. Morrow back with Janssen. Frawley right on Rudy this save. And Janssen controls the rebound. Trottier plays the puck for Dwayne Sutter. On to Mike Bossy. He'll circle. And with a 4-0 lead, the Islanders seem to be very much in command. Pittsburgh coming in with a second highest point total in the NHL. Philadelphia with 30 points. Pittsburgh with 28. At about the 1/4 mark of the season, Bossy sets up Basson in front. And Henry unable to get his stick on that final pass. Janssen. This turns away from Cunninworth. The two teams change on the fly. Here's a long shot, and it deflects wide. Basson can't control the puck. Lauer is unable to also. Lemieux has a stick lifted by Bassett. Randy Cunninworth to Mario Lemieux. He's going to go it alone. This is 1-on-4. Now 1-on-2. He shoots. A save by Rudy, and that's worth the price of admission right there.
First it was Dineen. He went around. Then Dennis Potvin, and he actually got his shot away somehow. You think it's not an advantage of being 6'5". Boy, what a player. It's still the Islanders 4 and the Penguins nothing. Look at these two moves. First, Gord Dineen. Now watch, he will put the puck to the left of Potvin, come around him, and actually get a shot away. And that he makes it look so easy that I'm sure people are sitting at home saying, so what? Well, let me tell you, it's far more difficult than it would appear.
Again, that was Dennis Potvin. He went around.
Yeah.
Well, just anybody.
The thing is, he didn't really go around him. He reached around him for the shot, and that goes back to his reach at 6'5" and his long arms. Even when he doesn't get his body around, meaning that the defenseman has played the play properly by playing the body, the torso, he somehow gets the shot away.
Simpson taken out. Ruskowski puts on the brakes, is wrapped up by Potvin. Craig Simpson pulled down. There'll be a penalty. A high sticking penalty will be called against the Islanders' Brent Sutter as Craig Simpson, the Michigan State University product, is slow in getting up.
He was holding, I thought, his face. Now he wears a screen, or actually a
stick came up a bit.
I think the stick might have caught right under his mask and been jammed between his face and that half of a shield that a lot of the hockey players are wearing now.
2-minute high sticking penalty at 6:37 here in the third period, which has been scoreless, and the Islanders lead it 4-0.
You know, Ken, there were those that maintained when those half shields came out that they, to some players, some people that watched the game, some players actually maintained that they might be more dangerous in the event that a stick ever did get lodged up under there, that it couldn't just leave your face area, that it would get stuck in there, and if the player tried to twist it or turn it, or if you were just involved in a pileup, it could actually cause more damage. But I think in the long run, since most of the stuff comes from the outside towards the mask, that it's a big help. Very seldom does the stick get caught up there.
Ron Duguay not worried about the half shield. Doesn't even wear a helmet. Trottier had a very good game again tonight. Has Brian Trottier ever had a bad game?
Once in 76, I believe.
Siren to Duguay. LaValle on his left, Young on his right, and Trottier there. Short-handed are the Islanders, but they're carrying the cards. They lead 4-0. 13 minutes remaining in the third period. Billy Siren, Pittsburgh defenseman. Duguay's in front. Now Bodger. Doug Bodger. blocker save. No screen there. Really a routine save for Rudy. Searing to LaValle. Out to Bodger. Bodger moving in, and LaValle unable to detect that in time.
Obviously, that's not in the playbook for Bodger to move in, or at least not in Kevin LaValle's playbook. He passed to where Bodger was. Just as he was letting it go, Bodger started his move in, and the puck zoomed out of the zone.
Omantha. Ken Morrow. And there's 50 seconds left in Brent Sutter's high sticking penalty. The action continues. A near chance for Pat Flatley. Budweiser keeping the action going so you can enjoy the game. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Dan Quinn on the Pittsburgh power play. And the Islanders clear the puck away. The Penguins 0 for 4 on the power play tonight. The Islanders 3 for 4, and you can just about tell the entire story of this hockey game with those special team numbers. Mantha knocked down. Lauer will get a penalty, a delayed call, and the whistle of Don Koharski stops play, and Brad Lauer will join Brent Sutter in the penalty box. Sutter there with 9 seconds remaining in his penalty.
I don't think there was much question about that call. Here comes Mo Mantha, and here comes Brad Lauer. Oh, he got the stick into him.
That was a pitchfork.
The left knee, a bit of a pitchfork. He can hit. I came and watched a game in this building, a preseason game between the Islanders and the Flyers, trying to prepare for our season. And he hit one of the Flyers rookies who was up for that game, who didn't stick with the team. Hit him about 8 feet from the boards along the penalty box and put his torso and everything right over the boards. He almost flipped head over heels into the penalty box from 8 feet away. He can really nail him.
Pittsburgh with a 2-man advantage for 9 seconds. They face a 4-goal deficit here in the third period. Trottier wins the draw. Ruskowski back to Bodger. Quinn. Lemieux is on the ice. Simpson shot knocked down. Brent Sutter back on. 1 man short of the Islanders as Denis hits Brent Sutter. 2-on-1 with Trottier. Bodger back. Trottier shoots. Leg fine save by Gilles Malage, and he ended up in a big collision with Trottier. Back the other way, Lemieux trying to cut it on Potvin. He shoots and shoots wide by 6 or 7 inches. Simpson keeps the puck in, and play stopped with a whistle, and Ruskowski trying to fend off some of the Islanders there, a little bit unhappy with their treatment of Craig Simpson.
Boy, 2 great plays at opposite ends of the ice. Here's the pass from Brent Sutter over to Trottier. Bodger plays this well. He takes away the pass. You saw that Trottier really didn't have an option to go back over to Sutter. And at the other end, Lemieux coming right back. Had we seen the beginning of that replay, you would have seen Mario Lemieux. Well, we are going to see it. Watch how he pulls the puck there ahead of him. He knew that Denis Potvin was going over his body with his own stick, trying to hook him. That's how sensitive he is and how great his instincts are. He knew exactly when he had to pull that puck a foot ahead of him, so Denis Potvin couldn't come around and get it.
This power play could be do or die for Pittsburgh. Young into the corner, taken out by Conroy, who got good position, and Brent Sutter clears the puck the length of the ice. There's 1 minute, 5 seconds to go in the Lauer tripping penalty.
Or the instincts of Mario Lemieux. You talk about greatness in any sport, and you sooner or later get down to the intangibles, whether the runner be faster than anyone, the shooter be a more accurate shooter like a Larry Bird, but there are always the intangibles, aren't there? The instincts, and Mario Lemieux, he's amazing.
He's got the puck. Johnson, Mantha, Young, LaValle in front. Lemieux stopped by Rudy. Mario Lemieux had a fine opportunity again. He's had 2 outstanding close-in opportunities for his 21st goal of the season here tonight. But 25-year-old Islander netminder Kelly Rudy has stopped them cold. Pittsburgh has been shut out. Johnson head over heels over Morrow. No penalty. Pittsburgh still with a man advantage. LaValle backhands it over the net. Here's Lemieux. He'll try again. Look at the pass to LaValle, and that's as pretty a play as you'll ever see. And Mario Lemieux has really turned it on here in the third period. Oh, give him a... Well, Kevin LaValle's got to throw a 20 his way after the game.
It was a beautiful pass. You know who really made the play, Ken, to start it all off was Bob Erie. Look, watch Erie take the Islanders player out of the play here. Morrow's out of the play. That leads the puck for Lemieux. That's what sprung Lemieux loose to walk out to the side of the net. That was Morrow's quadrant, wasn't it, of the box? And when Erie, there he is taking Morrow out, that leaves Mario free to dance in front. That's one guy you do not want charging out of the corner. Kevin LaValle in his favorite spot on the power play, one-times it. He got a couple just like that and came very close to getting 5 goals in that game that we did in Pittsburgh between the Devils and the Penguins from that very same spot. He loves to shoot from that spot.
It is 4-1 Islanders, 9.5 minutes to go. So there is some life still left in the Pittsburgh Penguins. 39 points now for Lemieux, second in the league in scoring. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, has 53 points. Well, that was a tremendous play. Along the boards, the puck held for a face-off. NHL tonight, we're at the Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, New York. Ken Wilson, Bill Clement, George Grant sitting in for Tom Mees tonight in our NHL Tonight studios. And with 9:13 to go in regulation play, Pittsburgh trailing the Islanders 4-1 in the first meeting of the season between these two Patrick Division teams. And on that play, the Islanders are offside, and Pat LaFontaine making sure he gets the number there, and the number would be that of defenseman Billy Siren. At goal, LaValle from Lemieux and Mantha at 10-20, and Bob Berry's team at least getting 1 goal here tonight.
Yes, they have turned a couple of areas of their hockey team around. Last year they were so dismal in their own division within the Patrick division. The Pittsburgh Penguins won 10 and lost 35. Their road record, they won 14 and lost 26. Thus far this year they are 5-3 in the Patrick division, although it would seem they're looking at a defeat tonight. On the road they're 5-5-1. If they can play 500 on the road, they will end up with a good hockey point total at the end of the season, and I would say now undoubtedly make the playoffs, Ken, if they can play 500 on the road.
Certainly has been a tremendous start for Pittsburgh. They need another quick goal. They trail by 3. Potvin takes out Frawley. Dahlquist stops the play, and then LaFontaine accepts Potvin's pass. LaFontaine with Gilbert. And Makela. Makela's had a good game. LaFontaine shoots wide. A nice setup by Mikko Makela. Here's LaFontaine. He's at a big point now. LaFontaine tried to go up the glass. He could see the check coming. He sees a goal there, and Malage puts the brakes on LaFontaine, who throws a bit of an arm at Frawley. And then Crom comes in to help out Pat LaFontaine, who is not exactly Mr. Muscles. The 21-year-old Detroit product is a finesse player, not a muscle player.
I think, yes, that's an understatement when you say he's not a muscle player. He's a small guy, and whether he's muscular or not, he doesn't mix it up that often. But that was a Makela-LaFontaine show that we watched there. They both had great chances. I wonder if Makela's coming out of it. He went 8 games without a goal. Watch LaFontaine get squashed along the boards here. A double sandwich, but he made a nice feed to Makela. He actually beat those 2 Penguins back in front for that good scoring chance right after that play, so he's showing a lot of hustle.
LaFontaine goes off. Frawley goes off. Undoubtedly coincidental penalties with 8:15 remaining in the 3rd period. Our next NHL Tonight game will be 2 weeks from tonight in Minnesota, the Oilers and the North Stars.
To continue, there is LaFontaine getting to the net before the 2 guys that sandwich him. Watch him come around the net. He went for the right and skimmed with the right and ended up with the elbow up in the face of Frawley.
There's an offside play, Islanders. That's the old I'll start it, you finish it.
Yeah, well, 4 seconds after the replay that we just saw of LaFontaine coming up with his arm, we're watching. And LaFontaine is standing 6 feet from the pack, and there are about 8 bodies all crowded around shoving, and LaFontaine was standing back and watching.
You never know when there might be a phone call back of the bench.
Isn't that for me?
Bad hop. Malage covers up. Islanders keeping the pressure on. The save by Malage on Conroy's shot. Frawley and LaFontaine getting high sticking penalties. And both teams continue to play at full strength on ESPN. Siren leads the charge on the attack. Pittsburgh, Kevin LaValle. Siren again.
Wheel it, wheel it.
You can hear one of the Islanders players telling Rudy, wheel it, wheel it. That means you shoot it out because we're not getting back quite that quickly. 7.5 to go, 3rd period. Oh, Basson drills Schmidt, but LaValle will drill a shot right on, and Rudy steers it into the crowd to stop play.
And will tell anyone that asks that he will not tolerate his team not working or hitting.
Hit or be hit.
Well, he feels that they have to work harder. He honestly feels that this team doesn't have as many skilled players as other people might think. Certainly the Bossies and Trotziers are there. Those two names are big, but besides that, they don't have all that many skilled players, and that combined with the fact that many teams still come gunning for the Islanders. They still remember them as the team that won 4 Stanley Cups, so they're very well prepared when they play the Islanders emotionally. And
Ruskowski, the wrist shot, the save. It's tough when you've won 4 Stanley Cups, even if you're not the same team. Many years before the other teams don't shoot for you. They figure this is going to be a tough game. Uh-oh, it's the Islanders. And the opposition tends to come up with some of their better performances. Lemieux comes back, loses the puck. This is Pat Flatley, the University of Wisconsin product, who backhands it wide. Gordonine keeps the puck in. Crom across the rink to Flatley with a bouncing disc. And bounds it wide. That puck bouncing every which way as the Islanders change players. Pass for Simpson from Mantha goes the length of the ice. There'll be no icing as Rudy plays the puck to Potvin. Off of Trottier, and here is Deneen. He scuffs the puck ahead, and it's offside. Trottier unable to keep his skate.
a hockey game is just how much of these guys mean behind the scenes, and Willie Lindstrom is a consummate professional.
Like any other sport in hockey, the makeup important, trips, what goes on in the locker room before games, between periods, and you need a couple of guys who can guide the ship, so to speak. They may not be the greatest skill players. Here's Bodger, and he blisters one high. Lindstrom trying to center as he's crunched by Trottier, and the whistle sounding because the puck was caught on the mesh on the back side of the goal. I'll say one thing for Willie Lindstrom. He took quite a hit, and he kind of bounced back. That kind of shook him up a little bit.
Oh, Willie's tough. He is tough. He's got great legs still.
From the Nassau Coliseum, the NHL tonight, Islanders 4, Penguins 1.
Hopefully teaching some of the young kids, at least telling some of the young kids on this team what it takes to win. Some of these players came to the Penguins when they were a terrible hockey team. They came to the Penguins from teams that weren't that strong in the junior ranks or in the college ranks, so they've never really learned how to win consistently. Willie Lindstrom knows how to win consistently. He played with the Oilers during their 2 Stanley Cups, so he is of value to them in that sense.
Chabot stopped by Rudy. Bossy with a puck. Islanders still in command. There's 5:22 to go in the third period. 4-1 New York. Dahlquist, Bodger on defense now for Pittsburgh. Lindstrom's on the right wing. Chabot with a puck is in the middle. And the left wing is Bob Erie. And
Mistakes tonight in this third period with the lead that they've had. They wanted to cut down on their mistakes completely. So what do? You go to a higher percentage play. Forget about the risky low percentage plays. They played a very conservative period. They've been scored on, but that was on a power play. Very, very solid.
Islanders with a puck. They're playing tonight without Alan Curry as bruised ribs. Defenseman Brian Curran, the former Boston Bruin, is out with a neck injury. Mackel has had a good game. Plays the puck to Leiter, who's been strong on defense, especially early in the contest. Dan Frawley over the line to Cunnyworth. In front, Quinn had moved out of the slot, and Leiter headmans to Gilbert. Now the Islanders just making short, quick changes. There's a delayed penalty coming up against Pittsburgh, and the Islanders not only have the lead, they're going to have the man advantage with 4:25 to go. Islanders hooking 15:35 Cunnyworth. 4 of the 5 goals in this game have come on the power play. The Islanders power play 3 for 4. Coming in, they were successful 26% of the time, and Melange makes the save on Mike Bossy, and Mike Bossy will not be in the dressing room tonight, saying he didn't get many chances. He's had a ton of shots.
Well, you don't want to give this guy chances there. They have to sag their box in a little bit. Left of your screen, you can see 2 Penguins to the right. One of them has to drop back in. The guy on the right, the lower right, the forward that's actually playing at the top of the zone or the top of the box, has to sag back in there and take Bossy. I mean, no player should be allowed to stand there unattended, let alone Mike Bossy. He'd love to have chances like that all night.
He had 8 goals in the 7 games against Pittsburgh last year. Potvin stopped, And the puck cleared.
He has simply scored 15 goals in his last 15 games. He's off to another routine type of season. He missed 4 or 5 with a bad back. Oh, he's just an incredible scoring machine.
9 straight seasons of 50 goals or better for Mike Posse. And it really wasn't that many years ago where 50 goals was virtually unheard of in a season.
Yeah, it's very, very true.
Janssen. Minute 12 to go in the Pittsburgh penalty. Just about 3.5 minutes remaining in this game. Again, we remind you our next NHL telecast here on ESPN 2 weeks from tonight. The Edmonton Oilers and Minnesota North Stars at the Met Center in Bloomington. Offside. New York with 57 seconds left in the Islanders' power.
Play a clunker of a game on everybody that's watching it, and time will tell what happens to the Penguins tomorrow night. One thing is for certain. They will have to do something to create their own openings, because if the Islanders play the way they did tonight, the Penguins won't have any chances, just the way they didn't have any tonight.
A very strong game for the New York Islanders here on their home ice. And Mario Lemieux probably not having again one of his better games of the season, but still magnificent from time to time for Pittsburgh. Setting up their only goal, which has come here in the third period. Pittsburgh is still a man short. They are for another 25 seconds. This is Bodger. On with Erie, Shabbat, and Dahlquist, and all 4 will head for the bench. And fresh troops come on for Pittsburgh. Lauer knocked off stride by Schmidt. Basson with the puck. Now Lauer. He's with Dwayne Sutter over the line. Here's Basson. The Islanders changing their defense. And Cunnyworth ready to come back on as Duguay is filled by Janssen, and there'll be a penalty. Cunnyworth back on. The Penguins are at full strength. And time really running out on Pittsburgh as Janssen goes off. Go hard play. And they are 1 for 6 with a man advantage here tonight. Mantha, quick wrist shot. Rudy the glove save. No rebound for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Said one of those years, 1976 or 77. One thing is certain, Brian Trottier can be counted upon to give you the same effort every night. Sometimes it doesn't go the way it's planned, but game in and game out, Brian Trottier, I would say, has been an asset to this New York Islanders team, and a big one. 99.9% of all the games he's played for them.
In his 12th season, the 30-year-old Brian Trottier of the Islanders are MVP here tonight in this hockey game. 1:50 to go. Lemieux tied up. And Rudy will just spin the puck around the boards. Here's Mantha to Ruskowski. LaValle trying to stuff the puck, and Rudy well positioned on Kevin LaValle, who has been the Penguins' only goal scorer tonight.
As he was looking for someone to pass to there, Ken. Had he thought shoot right away, he probably would have pulled it into his feet a little closer and tried to tee it up to get it up high on Rudy. Try and pick up LaValle in the lower left of the screen. Ruskowski will give it to him right now. Kevin looks as if he's looking for Ruskowski again. Then he just tries to slap it in front, but you can see Rudy was down with his left leg extended. Had Kevin just grabbed the puck, looked at Rudy, he might have had a chance to pop it up above his leg and into the top part of the net. Man, does it look easy from here. I'll tell you, I only scored 20 goals 3 times in my career, so it's easy to be the expert from up here. Kevin LaValle has great scoring instincts.
I guess the most important thing to watch and remember when you look at the NHL is all of this is happening on ice skates.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. When people start talking about the most difficult thing to do in sports, and they bring up hitting a baseball. As a hockey player, I might have been somewhat defensive because hockey was my sport, but whenever that conversation came up, I always pointed out that, listen, hockey players have to do things with their sticks that are just about as complicated as hitting a baseball, and before they do it, they have to learn a completely different mode of transportation, which is skating. All the other sports are played on foot.
Here's Mario Lemieux, who plays this game of hockey like few others ever have. Here's his shot. It's knocked down. There's less than a minute to go. It's 4-1 Islanders. Lauer just plays the puck back to Denis. The Islanders playing it shorthanded, and they have wrapped up this one. It'll be their 12th victory of the year, and they'll have 25 points. And only 5 teams in the NHL have more points than that. Half a minute to go here in the third period. Dan Frawley gets the puck in. Schmidt centers. Here's Lemieux. Can he pull one out of the hat? The save on Lemieux, and Morrow starts out. Islanders, Johnson out of the penalty box. 3-on-1 break, 12 seconds to go. Crom shoots and scores. Rich Crom waited, used the other players, and beats Jules Meloche to make it 5-1 Islanders.
Boy, I'll tell you, if anyone could get that goal, and Terry Simpson, the Islanders coach, could have designated the player to score that goal, I bet he would have named Crom to score it. He has not scored in 14 games. That's a long drought. The kid has been putting pressure on himself. He waits. Oh, there's a guess by the Pittsburgh defenseman as to which way the pass is going. Crom made the smart play. Here's the traffic jam at the other end. Another interesting point is the Islanders have a 3-on-2 here. While they were crossing the blue line, the other two Islanders that were on the ice were right back by their own goal. Here's Crom waiting. Boy, Makela's going tonight. He got his second goal in 9 games. His first one in 8 games came as a winning goal last week. They were worried about Makela. Crom hadn't scored in 14 games, and now they're both going. Watch for that third or fourth line of the Islanders to start clicking. They used Basson, Henry, and Lauer on a fourth line tonight. I like them. I think they're going great.
Islanders have looked exceptional. They play very well tonight as the contest ends with the Islanders winning it by a score of 5-1. Kelly Rudy was strong in goal. He now is 7-3 lifetime against Pittsburgh. LaFontaine, Brent Sutter, Makela, Trottier, and Crom score for the Islanders. LaValle, who's a star on ESPN, gets the only Pittsburgh goal thanks to Mario Lemieux.
He likes us, I'll tell you. Terry Simpson's team is the... I have a feeling that by the halfway point, Ken, they might be the talk of the National Hockey League. They are a young team with a young coach. He has to adjust to all kinds of things, and the players have to adjust to him. I think they're a talented, well-coached team.
Ready to leave the ice.